Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, this is your timeless reading, and if you are returning here, thank you for adding your energy to every upload. We are going to start with the Moonology deck, and we are going to clarify with the Resurrection Oracle. Don't forget to look at the timestamp. Anything that jumps out to you, anything that jumps out at you at the cards, you would think by now I would think of something else to say. Anything that jumps out at you on the cards, because all of that may have some channeled guidance from your spiritual team for you. I wanted to start with the Moonology because we have just finished a very intense full moon cycle. It has been particularly challenging for me, I know that. So you may be coming to this reading with some of those challenges. And so I definitely felt like we needed Moonology energy. Okay, so we got void of course, nothing will come of this situation. Okay, so this is also speaking to this energy that a portion of the collective has been sitting in for a while, where the void is starting to feel like we've gone past the expiration date, okay? And there are a lot of people wondering what the next step is. And there's this energy of feeling like something was going to open up in order to release the void, but there is a blockage. And I think many people who are coming to this reading are trying to discern where the blockage is internally. Like there's a lot of internalizing, especially with full moon in Aries energy, okay, that we have in reverse. A fiery climax approaches. And then eclipse energy, and we are also going into eclipse season for this month of August at the time of this recording, okay? I think the eclipses start around the 12th, either the 12th or the 26th, okay? Full moon eclipse conclusions are within reach, and these are both in the reverse position, so that's exactly why I feel like there's a lot of internalizing going on. There's a lot of root and sacral chakra clashing because there's this energy of wanting to feel secure, and there is a lack of passion and satiation in the void, but there is also this dimming of light that is taking place with void of course, where it's like we've been in this void and now we just feel like we're not sure where it's going. We're not sure if we're still barreling toward what we felt like was going to be the end point, and we're not sure what to do with our energy at this moment, okay? And then in the reverse position, we have North Node. Step out of your comfort zone in the reverse. And okay, so we have Aquarius in the North Node and Leo in the South Node. And as someone with those exact natal placements, this is a challenging time, particularly for who you want to be and how it needs to change for you going forward. We have a lot of purple energy, so this is a lot of expansion, crown chakra, getting to the bottom of what you actually value, and if you're actually living in those values, or you're just saying that and you are still trapped in your matrix conditioning, okay? I feel like we really need a little extra, some amethyst, okay? So let's go ahead and pull some clarifiers from the Resurrection Oracle. Okay, there's this energy of separation. So, and what's interesting is this isn't just talking about like a connection or a relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It can be, but it's not just talking about that. It's talking about like karmic fragmentation. Okay, hold on one second. Wow, we have astral. So this is ascension fatigue. Okay. Here's heavy ascension fatigue energy. Okay. The first card that we had come out is Adrift. Okay, this is definitely the vibe. Okay, consume, spiraling, unhinged, 777. So you may be seeing 777. It's definitely a number of spiritual growth and advancement. Okay, we have space. The next card that I saw face up was astral. So this is source energy, celestial light. Okay, so, and trine energy. So this is about synergy, and this is about an interruption in what we have been accepting because it completely lacks synergy. And there has been a period, you know, I think before the North Node was in Aquarius, that was okay. But Aquarius can be a little bit of a chaotic sign in that it is futuristic and it's innovative, but it's really hard to contain. It can be confusing, okay, because there's a lot that is felt by Aquarian energy, but yet it's a water sign, right? That's why it's represented by the star in tarot, which is the water bearer, right? It brings this anointment of spiritual, like, intelligence and advancement and like evolution, while at the same time has a very ungrounded, chaotic, and almost like self-consumed energy that struggles to place itself, okay, in the physical world. So there's that huge Aquarian energy. So you may have Aquarius placements. We also have idol, which is winter energy, and we have river, conviction, honor, purpose. And so we have moon energy, and we also have Mercury energy, okay? So communication. And that's the other thing about Aquarius, is that it is an air sign. So there is a large element of communication that takes place, right? Not in the same way of Gemini or Libra, where Libra is trying to be fair and Gemini is trying to understand multiple angles or every angle, right? Its communication is more solution oriented. And we're in this space right now where solutions are not as accessible, okay? Because we're in this void of course energy. But when I originally made this river card, it was actually called Valor before it was called River, okay? Because it was about it was channeling the masculine energy within everyone that has conviction and has purpose and understands the why for why they're doing anything that they're doing, okay? And a lot of times we can articulate verbally a why, but we don't know how that actually looks in our life. Because with river and idol, okay, we're struggling to feel like we are moving with purpose because we're not seeing movement with idol, okay, in this winter period. And this is why we feel like we're void of course, because we feel like the winter has extended past the start of spring. And there's this energy of, at what point are we going to experience this huge release where we get to go, where we get to stop being held back like a horse, okay, you know, behind the gates before the race starts. Like, this is, you know, and it's because we're retrieving so many lost parts of ourselves to the point where we can't conceptualize how many parts of ourselves we have lost with space, okay? Because we have lost central communication with self. Let me take a deep breath on that. And we are going through, right, okay, with reset, release, we are going through a karmic reset. And this is why the beginning energy, the start energy, Aries energy, which is coming, you know, shortly after Aquarius, we have to get to Pisces, then we get to Aries, right? But that's important. The Piscean period is kind of where we're in right now, where we are looking at so many different illusions in our life that we have created and built our life on. That is what created the fragmentation. And that's also very timely because we are moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, okay? And that was all about illusions and all of us coming to the conclusion that we have been living in a reality, okay, that isn't what we thought. And we have been thinking that we are a person or a certain type of soul, and that is also far from what it is that we know. So that is why we have this tug of war happening between the root and the sacral, because we feel completely insecure, okay, completely ungrounded, but also very full of real drive to change. Okay, that's where that passion is coming from. Okay, it's in, and that's why, with Valor, I ended up changing it to River, right? Because the river is controlled by the moon. Okay, that's that sacral energy, whether it's internal or external, okay, that is acting as your inner guidance for your purpose and your honor and your conviction. It was inspired by Frank Ocean, Moon River. Okay. So the river flows with the tide, and right now we're adrift, right? Like we feel like we're being swallowed up by the stillness, okay? But we're really retrieving parts of ourselves. So we're gonna pull one tarot card over each of these as final clarifiers, and then we'll see what's on the bottom of the deck. So you may be seeing 333 or 33 or 555. 111. Okay, death, Scorpio energy. So there's that water transformation over adrift. So you are absolutely going, this is part of your spiritual awakening. Okay, this period of generally feeling lost, okay, and being adrift, okay, because we have to, in order to fully transform, we have to retrieve the parts of ourselves that are going to be useful moving forward. And that is emotional connectedness and the removal of this idea that this untraditional, because there's a non-traditional way of living life, okay? And we need to remove the judgment internally on that non-traditional way of living life, okay? Because the judgment is internal. This is why full moon in Aries, full moon eclipse is turned inward. The climax, the conclusions that we're looking for is internal. The conclusion is that the way that we are viewing our change, we have a judgment about. And that is that Scorpio secretive energy where we need to come to that. We need to admit to those things. We need to admit to our judgments about, or what we fear we're going to be judged on by others, and to embrace our path as our individual, unique, perfectly designed path for the purpose of our lives, of our soul journey, okay? With space, we have Ace of Pentacles. Exactly. It's like a puzzle. It's like we just need to get all the pieces together so we can put together the picture. Only the pieces have changed and the puzzle is going to look different, but we still need all the pieces. Does that make sense when I talk about space and energetic retrieval? Queen of Cups over astral. So for some of you, there is a feminine energy. This could also be spiritual, ancestral. This could be a past loved one. For some of you coming to this reading, for sure. Okay, this past loved one could be a water sign or have heavy water in their chart. Okay, they could be a Pisces, they could be a Cancer. They could also be a Scorpio or an Aquarius, but this is just an emotional connection that you have to a feminine, okay, that is, it's creating this trine, okay? This feminine energy and spirit are creating this trine, okay, where you are almost assisting each other in retrieving these broken pieces, okay? And so there's this encouragement to allow this feminine energy to flow to you. If it sparks spontaneous emotion, cry. If you feel like you need to express yourself, do that. There's just this energy of like allowing flow and to stop the internal blockages as much as possible. Okay, 7 of Pentacles in reverse over River. So this is what I said. This is like ascension fatigue. This is disillusionment in the physical world with the pursuit, okay? Because we've lost the purpose at the center. And with Pentacles, we've probably just been focusing on survival, okay? So we're retrieving the parts of ourselves for new opportunities that is not in this state of survival, okay? With Idol, we have 4 of Swords in reverse. Absolutely, we're very tired, very exhausted. Exhausted with sitting still in many ways, okay? Building this new foundation is taking time, but it is very acknowledged that it is a frustrating process, okay? On the bottom of the deck, we have Lilith energy, okay? Chaos, autonomy, challenge, and I'm updating my cards. And originally I chose raw, and I was like, that's not the word. The word is risk, okay? The word is risk, because there's always, Lilith is our dark powers, right? Like, we have light powers, we have karmic powers, okay? And then we have ways that we can use our energy to our benefit that are more of our shadow traits. That's the only reason why it's called dark energy. Okay, so there may be, that's why there's so much Scorpio energy over this reading. There may be these very hidden, deep, emotional layers to you that you can actually be using to your benefit moving forward. But the risk with this heavy Scorpio energy is showing it, right? Because you have a judgment about it. Autonomy. This is about you being authentic moving forward, okay? And that's why we're retrieving your authenticity. And then on the bottom of the tarot deck, 9 of Swords in the reverse position, because there's ultimately fear here. There's deep, deep fear and anxiety about grounding a part of yourself that you normally hide, okay? But there's also support, and there's this, for some of you, there is this feminine energy that is almost acting like a muse, okay? Okay, but it's so important not to abuse the muse, okay? Meaning that, like, it is supposed to trigger and inspire your deeper purpose, okay? It is supposed to keep your river flowing. It is not supposed to be your only soul life force, okay? It's supposed to trigger your ability. This is why we have this trine element where there's this energy passing through this feminine energy. I think it's a reflection of your internal feminine energy, but I also feel for some of you, there is spiritual support. There's past loved one support. There's divine feminine support. There's divine counterpart support, okay? And it is like a team effort here. And that's why they need for your river to be flowing, okay? To allow the guidance of one's inner feminine, okay? But to also release fear, okay? That's what's perpetuating space and separation and fragmentation. So I hope you got something out of this reading. Please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I am in full content creator mode and I need all the help I can get. So thank you so much for anyone who's ever sent a tip. There's a link in the description box where you can donate to my content creation, and you can also book a reading with me. At the time of this reading, I am running a sale on single sessions and double sessions or extended sessions, so you can find that in the description box as well. Please like this video and comment. It helps me greatly in the algorithm, and I will see you in the next upload.